Taking our seat and having that compassionate intention of, hey, we're doing something that's, going to be helpful. This is a topic of, dealing with our very human mishaps that we make on a small scale, pretty much every day, right? So it takes a little bravery. So give yourself a big pat on the back for being here today and a sense of a little bit of pride even. And whatever intention you bring to the class today, you can think about. Heidi?
Mm-hmm. Hi, friends. If you'd like to join me in the 5-point check, either resting your hands comfortably to the tops of your legs, or if you appreciate a connection of a hand at the belly, or maybe a hand at the chest, or even both hands resting to the chest, that tangible connection to you. And class 5 with our 5-point steps. 5-point check of mindful steps. Leaning in, hello to the body. An invitation to be present, paying attention on purpose. How is your body doing? Thank you, body. And then noticing your next breath in, hello, breath. Exhale, release the breath. Thank you. Thank you for the nourishment of breath. How is your breath feeling today? Or just simply, caught up to the fact that I'm breathing right now. Welcoming mind and your mental activity. Giving yourself permission to be in the zone of no judgment. Just watching, observing. I see those thoughts. I hear you. And then dropping into the layer of emotion, of mood, and checking in with your mood meter today. Again, bringing in that layer of non-judgmental. I see you, I hear you, I feel you emotion. Let's figure this day out together. And energy that's woven through all of it. How's your energy today? Feeling a little more upregulated, maybe a little downregulated. Or perhaps you're kind of in that zone that you might call, kind of okay. I'm kind of in this balanced groove. Again, sensing it, paying attention to you, validating this moment for you. Let's be here 3 more breaths. You're welcome to stay seated as we start to shift into our half sun salutation. If you're seated, just maybe find your roots into your feet, into your legs. If you're standing, come meet me in standing and take a moment to, again, be present. Be present wherever you're landing here. Body, here it is. Breath, here it is. Mind, bringing things into focus so you start to coordinate movement and breath. And as you're ready, as you greet your next inhale, circle your arms up, out to the side, any amount. And then as you exhale, a gentle fold, a little softness to your knees, hinge your hips, let it go. Press through your feet, help yourself up halfway. Maybe dare to look a little more in front of you with a long spine. Exhale, release it back to your fold. Steady your legs, pick yourself up, tall mountain, breathe it in, nourish yourself. Arms by your side, exhale. Let's take one more round here. Inhale, tall mountain. Greet your breath. Exhale, like a waterfall, release over your legs a little or a lot. Halfway up, hands scaffold to your legs, long through your spine, dare to look in front of you. Exhale, release your fold, look to the earth. Press down through your feet, big breath in as you circle it up, reach high. Arms by your side. Exhale. A moment to let yourself find your way back into more neutral mountain. If you're standing, stay as you are for a mindful minute, or if you'd like to return to your seat, please do. And hi, Laurel, you're here. You ready for our mindful minute?
Hi, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Great. So we're ready for the mindful minute? Okay. Let's take a minute now to just be silent with our breath. And yeah, you can close your eyes or fuzzy gaze down, whichever is more comfortable. Here we go. And let's just gently bring your awareness back to your room and just notice how you're feeling, and however you're feeling is okay. And we're going to move on now to Julie.
You, Laurel. Wow, that was actually kind of an insightful thing to do the 5 point check when not feeling very well. Because you think of a monolith, and I actually was like, there are actually parts of me that feel all right. And it's kind of insightful. So thanks, Heidi, for taking us. So today we're going to talk about mindful mishaps. And, again, we're kind of warriors here. We're daring to look a little bit at ourselves. And first off, I want to show a little science that gives us a little bit of grace, okay? Shame is something that is considered a useful emotion, and it's part of what makes us human. And in fact, it may be the most human of emotions. Charles Darwin found he did a whole bunch of research actually on emotions as well as some of the other work you know him for, and found that, blushing and kind of expressing shame is something that seems to be one of the things, the expressions that only humans have. And children really don't blush or become embarrassed until they're about 2 or 3, when they have that kind of self-awareness. It could serve as kind of a nonverbal apology, when someone's kind of, you can tell like, oh yeah, they feel bad, right? We have been in that experience, like, oh man, yeah, I see that you're really sincere, okay, we'll work through this, right? So it's an interesting tool, but it also can feel really, really bad. And it's probably one of the most crippling of emotions as well. And we begin to fear the bad feeling. We start out with a good intention, like I feel bad that I, maybe, wasted some food or hurt someone's feelings or something. And then you begin to like feel bad about that feeling bad, and it becomes like something you want to avoid completely. Maybe you shift the blame, or we shift the blame around, maybe do some kind of yeah, I'm sorry, right? I said I was sorry. Or, worst case scenario, become quite numb, like, well, whatever, that kind of live or let die attitude. Or maybe even worse than that is feeling like we have to be guilty forever, we're a terrible person. So I'm going to use a couple examples of something that things that happen, kind of pretty commonly. One is like you buy some fruit. Maybe it's your leftovers from a restaurant, or maybe it's some vegetables you were excited about buying, and then all of a sudden you open up the refrigerator door and oh man, that lettuce is gone bad. And you feel really bad about it. There have been times in the past where I've just shut that door. I don't even want to look at it, and then it spreads to the other vegetables. It's terrible, and it's because I don't want to face that feeling of guilt, or, sometimes we make a mild friendship mistake and then avoid that friend, it makes it even worse for them. You felt bad about maybe having something come out of your mouth, but now now I've made it worse. Oh no. So these are really common human experiences. And it has to do with the fact that this big prefrontal cortex we have is a new tool. And I showed this a couple of weeks ago. It's something that we as humans have, and we can end up hurting ourselves while using it, instead of like using that as a trigger to like, oh, I can make things right. It's all going to be good. We end up just getting kind of like almost overwhelmed. And so I'm going to use a little bit of reward science. You've all heard of Pavlov's dog. This is kind of how that works. So when you get normally, there's a delicious reward, a delicious treat, and you can see the little neurons going, yummy. There's a little dopamine burst. And then all of a sudden that's paired with a conditioned stimulus like the dinner bell. And then that responds to the dinner bell. And then once they get the delicious treat, there's actually not a change. But here's what's weird that can happen. You have a stimulus where you do a behavior, you see a sight, and you expect a reward. And then look what happens here. You have an absence of firing, and that feels bad. That feeling starts to trigger a sense of like, ooh, something's wrong here. And so we can use the system to use a reward system to make us kind of feel good about the process of facing something like a mistake. We're going to use the refrigerator drawer as the example. So, okay, look, you were really hopeful and you got those farmers market, carrots, and man, they are growing roots and they're all soft and no way, can't eat them. I'm going to look at them. Okay, they're definitely not good. I'm going to sit and just think about this for a little bit. And I'm going to wish for the best. This is something that's going to make the world better. It's going to make my life better if I just face like, you've done this more than once, where I buy something and don't end up, eating it and it goes bad. And that makes me feel bad. Let's face it. Okay. All right. Cool. And then you pat yourself on the back, like, yay, you, this is good. And then all of a sudden you start to kind of train your reward system to expect a reward in this process of facing a mishap. Telling yourself it's noble and human to feel regret when when you have a little mishap. Okay, good. I'm human. I'm good. I'm a good person. And what can I do? I can maybe apologize if that's the right thing to do, or I can prevent it in the future. Next time when I'm about to go into the grocery store, I want to eat more vegetables, I'm going to look up a recipe and just get the vegetables I need for that recipe. Or, whatever it is, we can, make a plan for it and know it's going to make the world a better place, know it's going to make our own lives better, and then you get a reward instead of that bad feeling. And sort of like Pavlov's dog, every time you face a mistake, you're going to realize, hey, I can make myself actually feel better about it. What we want to do with the 5-point check is check in on ourselves so we don't end up with burnout syndrome. If we become too emotionally exhausted and dealing with issues related to guilt and shame can really you have to be very careful. So that's why we're just, if you're thinking about something, think about something like the refrigerator drawer or, going down a road that you knew there was a pothole and you nailed that pothole, right? Even though you saw it yesterday, right? You can develop a little plan for that. So starting very small so you don't end up emotionally exhausted. because what usually happens is that depersonalization numbing where you don't want to look and you avoid. And that can lead to more mistakes. And that's part of the whole compassion burnout is part of burnout. It's all part of the same thing. Laurel's going to talk more about moral injury. If you want to look up a great article on that, this Mrs. J wanted a blanket and say no chips away at her soul. You know, it was just says feeling guilty about not being able to do something because of a policy or something to that effect, and you know, end up feeling bad. But there's, you know, so we're going to talk about that a little later. Also, we're going to be doing some practices today with yoga, and the studies have shown that if you practice through discomfort, being able to maintain your body, and especially with some of the balance poses, if you can stand on one leg, the longer that you can stand, and being able to pass this test gives you more longevity. It's actually such an indicator of your body's health and your body's, you know, maintenance to be able to balance. So being able to kind of, you know, I'm trying, I'm wobbling, so good for you. So it's another example of like just kind of bearing with, you know, having a little forbearance of that discomfort and like a little bit of embarrassment of like I'm wobbly. All those types of things that we've been doing in the classes are so helpful. So we're going to do a little compassion meditation that is related to, I'm so sorry about my voice, it's not soothing. We're going to do something where if we in our 5-point check feel like we're ready today to look at a small mistake, reels, something where, oh my gosh, I couldn't find my phone this morning. I tend to lose my phone a lot. Or, you know, I tend to buy things and I don't eat the leftovers I bring home or whatever it is. Just maybe choosing something that, you know, all of us do it. Okay. And, you know, if not, you could just practice, you know, sending love and compassion towards you, which is what we're going to start with a stable mind. Send love and compassion to ourselves, work through that little scenario, maybe even make a little game plan, and then come back to really, really up in that warmth towards ourselves. So sitting with our backs, you know, our shoulders kind of broad if we can, if that's accessible to us. Feeling like we could kind of get our tension out a little bit if we had any. And then finding our natural breath. If it helps, really feeling the temperature of the air as it comes in and out. Really feeling deeply embodied if we can. Really feeling the kind of strength of our body, our feet, our sits bones supporting us, giving us a seat of dignity. Speaking of dignity, really embodying and feeling that for yourself. You are a worthy person. And some feelings of care towards yourself. And feelings of love. And feelings of strength. Sending yourself these wishes to be happy, to be safe, to feel a sense of ease, and to feel brave. Dignified. Even at this point, if you were having trouble sending care to yourself, maybe just listen to this meditation. It may not be good to look at a mistake today. But if you're willing to give this a try, think of, again, something minor, something like, a frequent misplacement of your phone, or not eating your leftovers, or forgetting about that pothole. And think about, now that we're thinking about it, pair that with like, oh, good. I'm really proud of myself here. This is going to help. I'm doing this for me as well as the world. Now, bring to mind that little mishap. There it is. Okay, what can I do? Maybe there's one little thing I can do that might reduce the chances just a little bit. Maybe a little game plan. Okay, that's it. I thought of something. Maybe I'll think on it later if it didn't fully come to mind, but I think I have something. And I'm not going to stay wallowing. I'm going to really feel like, hey, you dared to look. Good job. Like whatever cheer you might have developed or encouraging words you say to yourself. Like a lot of people, including myself, don't dare to look. And, when I can do that, it's going to, reduce the chances of those, feelings of when, that little mishap happens and it causes some discomfort. It's good. I thought about it. All right. Now I'm going to lay back on those same warm feelings. I am in my seat and dignified. I am good at heart. I'm a human being. I'm putting good into the world. Coming back to feeling ourselves stable with our feet on the ground, dropping the visualization or, emotional exercise, just feeling yourself in your body. And if there's any tension, maybe rolling up those shoulders. And if after this class you want to give yourself a little treat, do so. This was going to be a little later in the class, but I appreciate, because I don't know how long my voice has, etc. So we're going to move on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Julie, can
Laurel.
you?
Yeah, we can
Thank
hear you,
you.
Laurel. Yeah.
Great, great. Okay. So let's move on and talk a little bit more before we get into practices. Well, we just did the compassion practice, which is huge. Sending yourself kindness, and I'm human, like Julie said. I'm human. I'm not perfect. And sometimes we get caught in this I'm perfect mode. Like I should do it right. Be careful of the shoulds. Don't should on yourself. I could. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm healing. So that grace and compassion is huge. So when we're looking at moral injury, I'd like to focus on for a minute the moral injury of what we see and what we hear in the world. At work, at home, in the world at large. So just notice the impact that this has on you. Notice the feelings that you feel because sometimes of what you see or hear. And this can also be called vicarious trauma if what you see or hear is intense. It's like a byproduct. You're not actually experiencing the trauma itself, but you're witnessing it. And that's called vicarious trauma. So have compassion. Go, okay, I've just heard or seen something that is very difficult. I need to ground myself, do some of the techniques that we're talking about, some others. Downtime, focusing on a little bit of enjoyment, with your pet, with a loved one, being careful of overstimulation, be careful of going into big box stores, the lighting, be careful of lighting, sounds. Just say to yourself, okay, I've just witnessed or heard this. It's had a big impact on me. I need to turn down the volume of my life a little bit so that I can process these emotions. And then to validate the emotions, to say it's okay to feel this way. Of course, I'm feeling this way. And then how do I take care of myself? Kind of remembering at times the serenity prayer, basically, what can I change? What can't I? And accepting what I can't. And through like a compassion meditation, sending yourself some kindness and compassion and sending that out to the world. It makes a big impact on our well-being. Um, so that's about it in a nutshell. We could talk little pieces about that more. I'd like to open it up into the chat actually now. What you were thinking or feeling after what Julie just presented, what I just talked about. Like, how do you take care of yourself when you witness or hear things? How do you try to forgive yourself? Like Julie said, when we've bought the food that we didn't eat, which we all have. Oh my goodness, my goodness. I try to think, oh my God, it's going to the landfill, this asparagus, and animals are going to eat it, right? you know, it's going to be eaten. It's going to go into the ground. The asparagus is going to have some benefit. you know, I mean, and then the pothole, oh, I missed it. I missed it because I was thinking about something that happened at work. Giving yourself grace. It's like, I'm doing my best here. I'm doing my best. I'm human. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm human. So if anyone would like to, let's see what's going on. And if Julie, if you or Heidi could read some of the chat, I'm on my phone because my iPad didn't work. I don't know why. So it's hard for me to see so much. Let's see.
Nothing on there yet. I got it up,
Okay,
so yeah, I'll let us
that's
know.
okay. Well, we'll share
Yeah.
at the end too. Heidi, do you want
Yeah.
to go ahead with
Well,
some
yeah, I
tools?
just wanted exactly. Yeah, and I just wanted to share real quick. You just reminded me of just sometimes I need if I've been out, you know, working, doing things in by myself in the car, and I know family's home or which I'm excited to see, but let's say earlier was a little more stressful or just a lot of activity, maybe not stressful, just a lot of activity. That moment of sitting in the car, does anybody else do that? Of sometimes you just hear the car go off and it's silent. You're in
Yeah.
your own little zone. And for me, that's a moment of like, oh, that transition of into the next thing, but that I can take the moment, like you're saying, Julie, to give myself just a little compassion for what was happening earlier and then transition to be present with my family. All right, now we have from
Yes,
Diana.
self-forgiveness, right?
Yes, is so important, especially for perfectionists that struggle to always be perfect. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Self-forgiveness, like you would forgive a child, like you would forgive a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we hold ourselves to such high standards, expectations. My goodness.
Yes.
You know, we wouldn't hold anyone else to those. And if we
Yes.
do, it's not fair. Expectations are a trap to oneself and to others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it almost kind of tricks you because it makes you feel like you're being harder on yourself or something, but it ends up, causing more problems because you, again, develop such a fear of even looking because it feels bad. And if you could just be like, no, I love myself. I just want to tweak the little things and you're perfect as you are, but there's still a room for improvement. Is a quote I've read recently.
Yes. And there's a follow-up from Diana that yes, do not set yourself up for failure. And I sometimes see that. Yes, so true. It's like, well, we want to like have our things that the tasks we meet and be of service to ourselves and others and into the world. And And then it's like, but I don't want to set myself up for failure. So, oh, I just need to like hang out of my car for a little bit. Or, oh, these moments of, yes, giving ourselves a break, giving ourselves a break. Laurel, you always share that, don't should on yourself. And I notice when I'm in like, oh, I need a little more self-forgiveness. I kind of didn't set myself up in a way. I'm kind of getting that negative self-talk in and I'm shoulding on myself. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
right. Why did I do that again? I shouldn't have done that. Or, oh, I was late again. Oh, I should have left earlier. It's like, oh, bringing in the tools like Julie said, what's something I could put in? Not 10 things. Like Diana, like putting 10, 15 things up is like, oh, that's too much. What's one thing I could start to do today?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And to know that self-forgiveness is one of the toughest things to do because it's just tough. It's tough to forgive yourself because you think, oh, if I let myself off the hook now, um, wow, what will happen? Will I go downhill? Will I become, you know, I have to keep on myself, I must. And Julie, what's the science behind that again?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that the things on acceptance, research studies on acceptance have shown that, if you're trying to break a habit or something, that kind of thinking, like, I mean, you get so worked up, it's an emotional burst, and that emotional burst burns you out so that you can't establish the habit or you can't stop the bad habit, or you're going to make the same mistake because you get yourself burned out in the process of hating on yourself. And that to me has been one of the biggest life changers for meditation. Like, number one for me, I was so hard on myself and such a perfectionist. And that is the thing, like, there's never I mean, there's sometimes little glimmers, but that is something, it took years. It took years. But I really grew to love myself, and that was a huge difference. Oh, pride
Yeah.
can be a good motivator, but it also leads to self-shaming.
Yes, thank you, Donna, for that. Yeah. It's okay
Marsha
and I
says
am
it's
enough.
okay, and I'm
Yeah. Oh, these are great. And another one said, I asked, did I do the best I could? And recognize that every day my capacity for my best changes based on the circumstances of that day. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah, exactly.
That is mindfulness. Yes, it sure is. Yeah. All right. Well, we will yes, we'll bring this up again, moments to share and in the chat, or if any of you want to be heard, we'd love to hear your voice too. But we will bring this into our movement practice. And today we're going to be focusing on some balancing. Last week we welcomed in the warrior postures, and one of them, warrior three, was a balancing posture. So I'm actually going to share my screen. I have a few slides
Yeah.
here.
She's doing yoga.
All right.
And if everyone could go on mute, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Laurel.
Yep.
All right. Can everyone see this okay? See it? Julie, can you see it? Thumbs up? Yeah, okay, great. All right. Oh, stop. Go back. All right, so balancing postures. We'll be exploring tree pose today as one of our balancing postures. But with balancing postures, they do challenge our relationship with stability, with what it feels like to gather a sense of steadiness. So the movement in and out of feeling steady is the practice. Right? It's not like I need to be or I should be still or I should be a statue. It's being in that moment of, oh, what is present today as I come in and out. And this is where interoception and proprioception kick in, and you get to discover that mindfulness, paying attention on purpose, what is needed for you physically, mentally, emotionally to access a felt sense of balance. So I have four things that can help, that we can weave into a balance practice. So the first is, so find your roots. So in the body, we find our roots that we sense the ground beneath you, whether you're seated or standing. And even if you're seated and you can bring your feet to the ground, like we do in meditation, it's like feel the ground, affirm your stance. This is also about rooting your gaze. So setting your gaze on something that's not moving in front of you can really help with that quality of inner balance. So we're not looking around, because where our gaze goes, our energy goes. So it's like, whoa, squirrel. And we're falling off of our tree. All right. So the next one after root is, where can you rise? So we want to feel the ground beneath us, feel rooted and steady. And then where can we rise? Find potential. Feel where you can rise up from your roots or open up into your expression of a posture. And that can be, your expression can be based on your knees. Like, oh, just a little bit, just a breath, just 5 seconds, right? Or, oh, I'm going to be in this posture for a little bit. I want to be here and explore, but rise up with your potential and grow slowly. Never underestimate the power of play and raising your energy in a posture with a little smile. And sometimes smiling is that reminder of, man, I don't always balance on one foot. Used to do this maybe a lot when I was younger, but balancing on one foot, having that kind of care and non-judgmental, like, oh, I fall out, I'm going to get right back in. I'm going to learn from falling out and see where I can go and explore my potential today. So root, rise, and scaffold. This is going to help too. Scaffolding is where you can pay attention on purpose to that felt sense of how much you're holding on and where you can let go. It can be scary to stand on one foot. Especially, I know for me, I've been kind of healing from an ankle and foot injury. So it's still, for me, it's a little scary. And I find myself really wanting to hold on and tense up, and where I can get a little more resilience in my body. So if I feel too tense, or if you feel too tense, you can get knocked out of balance, right? We want ourselves to be able to have a little bit of sway and movement to find our center. You can also scaffold, right? You have your inner sense of scaffolding, and then scaffold your posture by standing near a wall, using a chair, placing a hand on a desk, or sometimes even a good friend. Partner yoga, assist each other as you move through balancing. All right, and then the last one, we have root, rise, scaffold, and kindness. Always coming back to being kind to yourself. If you step out of the pose, right? No biggie. You set yourself back up. You come back in. Or you go, you know what? I think I'm done for today. That was good practice. I'll try later. If you're wibbly wobbly, remind yourself that your body is doing the practice of balancing. And that's what it's all about. We wobble in and out. This makes your muscles and joints stronger. And be kind to your future self. Thank you, Julie, for sharing that bit of science. Practice a yoga balancing posture every day. Even if it's while you're brushing a teeth, pick up one foot, or you're standing at the kitchen sink, washing your hands or doing some dishes, just for a little bit. Set a timer for 10 seconds or just count to 10. As Julie said, just 10 seconds. Can you build up to that? You can even practice at your desk seated. We sometimes think we have to stand to balance, but seated in your chair, you could press one foot down a little bit more and pick the other foot up a little bit, and just feel that shift in your body, firing up the muscles and the nervous system activation to create that sense of structural support. All right, so with all of that, root, rise, scaffold, and kindness. Let's do some movement. If you would like to stay seated, please feel free. If you are feeling through your 5-point check that kindness today means, and you're just like sitting it out and breathing, watching, listening, that is a great practice as well. So I'm going to stop my screen share. And if you'd like to join me in standing, let's go. I'm going to bring my chair with me so I can show you some ways to scaffold, and I might need it today too for my foot. All right. So now let's take a moment. So balancing, we usually think of like when we go into postures. Yes, it's a moment of, being on one foot and then the other. But how can we also take that definition to simply stand in equal balance? So in your own 2 feet, feel both feet root down. Maybe a little shift side to side until you feel those roots really pressing into the earth. Not too much, just enough. Affirm your stance. And then through your own 2 feet, start to notice any amount of rise up through your body. Sometimes it helps to bring those arms out and up to actually lift up, rise up with the arms. Maybe feel muscle energy drawing in and up as well. And then accessing any amount of that lift and rise, a grace and tallness. Release your arms by your side. Soften your shoulders. As you press through your feet, maybe notice your legs, the muscle energy holding you a little bit more. That's scaffolding. And now kindness into your pose, this equal balance, standing into both feet, right and left. Noticing front and back body, enjoying this rhythm of breathing. Side to side, finding a little balance. And earth to sky. Moment to be in this presence of you, equal balance. Maybe even checking in with your needs, like our 5-point check, how you want to navigate these balancing shapes today on one foot. And then when you're ready, let's take the hands to the hips. So in Mindful Steps 1, we did a lot of our 6 movements of the spine. I'm going to invite in a side bend before we get into a one-footed balance as a way to wake up sensation, right side, left side. So from here, take your left foot and step it just slightly in front. It's like a little scissored legs. And now with your left hand, so left foot's in front of the right, left hand to your left hip, invite your right arm straight up. Feel both feet rooting down. But now right side, left side are kind of doing a little different in the upper body. Now start to lean a little or a lot to your left. This might wake up some weeble wobbles. So feel your feet, scaffold your legs. Notice where you can feel just a little rise and a line of energy. One more breath. Breath is always a nourishing kindness piece to the pose. And then let it go, let it be. And now your right hand will be on your hip. Let's switch the legs. Right foot in front, left foot behind. Right hand on your hip with your left arm reaching straight up. Sense your legs grounding, rooting down as you rise up through the body. Lean a little or a lot to your right, side bend here. Nourish the pose with your breath and notice the scaffolding of your legs and even up through your trunk as you navigate. And release your pose. Both arms down. Reset your mountain. So now giving yourself a little wiggle out. Great. And now setting up for tree balance. So now start to settle weight into your left foot. Hands can start on your hips. For tree, we'll start low. So imagine your right foot's a root that kind of wants to go play off in a different direction. So spin your right toes out. They can stay on the ground and allow your heel to anchor towards your left inner leg. Here we are in tree. You could also explore and play, seeing what it's like to invite the right foot just up a little higher on the leg. Notice how that feels. You're rooting down into your left leg. You're finding some scaffolding as you rise up, the muscles of the body holding you up. Maybe you come in and out like me, or maybe you need a hand to go to a desk or a chair for a little more external scaffolding. And then the last little bit of expression. Hand can stay wherever it is, or perhaps see what it feels like today to allow this big, tall branch of your tree with leaves to stretch a little higher. And let's stay for 3, 2, 1. Release your pose, let it be. Maybe give yourself a little walkabout. And we'll set up for the other side. You'll probably definitely notice one side over the other is just a little more alive with sensation. So now as you step into your right foot, land, root into your right foot, right leg starts to energize more. Left foot, left roots want to go like, woo, I want to play off to the side. So knee spins out, and then you can rest your heel to your inner leg. Decide if you want to take that root up a little bit higher. And now start to rise up through the trunk. So from hips up to shoulders to the top of your head. And then notice that muscular scaffolding, just enough, not too tight, holding you up. Maybe externally scaffold, a hand on a chair, wall, or desk. And explore if you wish to play, allowing your branches to flow in the breeze. Let your leaves shine up to the sky. And we're here for 3, 2, 1. Let that be, let it go. And settle back in to your mountain. All right. As I shared last week, we did Warrior 3. So let's revisit that again. See how it feels in your body today. It's going to feel different. We're different every kind of moment of the day. Things are constantly shifting. So take care. Bring in that kindness. As today you explore, it might be easier, it might be a little more challenging. Let's settle weight into your left foot, ground into it. Start to shift, dare to look forward. Put a little more weight and scaffolding into your left leg. And any amount, actively, with attention and care, lift your right leg. Arms can become these accessories. Let them sweep out or up or anchor to your hips. And as you are, breathing your pose with kindness, we're here for 3, 2, and 1. Gently let your pose go, and we'll switch that out. So, just noticing how you're feeling. Maybe you're even warming up. Balancing requires a lot of that internal focus and the nervous system, like helping you out. You might warm up, get a little more active breath going as well. All right, with your right foot, settle into it. Root your leg. Feel a rise up through your leg, that scaffolding of muscle energy. Left leg starts to kick back any amount. Allow your arms to adjust, almost like a trapeze artist, assisting you with balance. Being in that zone of kind of holding on and then letting it go. That practice of balance. With care and kindness, we're here for 3, 2, 1. Gently let that be. And re-greet your mountain pose. Once you're in mountain, a moment to settle in. Land back into an equal balance posture. Maybe you want feet a little closer together now. Or it might feel good to keep your feet a little bit wider. As you are, settle in, feet root. Invite a natural rise up through the body, up through the top of your head. Feel a sense of, I'm holding myself up with care, with grace, with dignity and kindness. That inner scaffolding. And now before we switch back to Laurel with the meditation, a short breathing practice right here in mountain. This is going to be a balancing breath that shifts sides. So just find a breath that feels smooth and steady for you. And notice your right foot, the root of your right foot. And as you greet your next inhale, imagine the breath coming up from your right foot, up through the right side of the body, through the right nostril. And then as you exhale, imagine the energy of that breath coming down the left side of your body. Down the trunk, hip, leg, to the root of your left foot. Now from your left foot, that root, inhale, breathe, just imagine, visualize that breath, that energy coming up your left side. There's a pause, a moment as you switch, and notice down the right side of your body, breathe it out. Right foot, the root, inhale, breathe up through that root, up through the whole right side of your body. At the pause of the inhale, mentally shift attention to the left side of your body. Exhale down the left. Notice down to the leg, to your left foot. One more time, both sides. Inhale, breathe up the left side of your body. Exhale, notice breathing down the right. Last one, inhale, breathe up the right side of the body. Exhale, notice breathing, exhaling down the left. In that pause between, notice both feet. Inhale, a breath comes up, the wholeness of you, both legs, up through the trunk, up to the top of your head, face. Exhale, breathe it out. Wholeness of you, releasing the breath. You're back into the legs and your roots. Allow your body to breathe as you release that practice of alternate energy breathing or alternate nostril breathing in a way. And Laurel, we're ready for you to guide us in a meditation. If you're standing, please feel free to take a seat. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you so much. You know, so to gaze down. And all feeling.
Yeah, I think we might have lost Laurel here. I'm looking for her.
Validating in my
Oh,
back.
there she is.
My Wi-Fi is coming in and out. I'm sorry, folks. But we're just validating our feelings. We're noticing what we're feeling in our body. We're saying that all of our feelings are okay, not judging them good or bad. And then just asking them at this point or later on, what message do you have for me? You know, label the feeling. Whatever that feeling is, label it. Sad, joyful, bored, frustrated, and ask it what the message is. What am I to hear that would benefit me from this? I want to know. So allowing the feelings to come and go, and then maybe asking a feeling, if you choose to, what is the message here? What would be a good takeaway for me? And listening as best you can to yourself. Listening to yourself is so important. So now, feeling your breath without holding it or forcing it in any way. Allowing your breath to flow like the waves on the ocean. Easy in, easy out, nowhere to go, nothing to do, just being present in the here and the now. And now bringing your awareness to your feet connected to the earth for stability, groundedness, and breathing those qualities up your left and right leg, into your left and right hip, and feeling the full weight of your body on what you're sitting. Just being with yourself. Just being with your breath and whatever you're noticing, whatever feeling you're noticing or thought, observe it with kindness, please, and compassion, as you would for a friend or a child. Now slowly bringing your awareness back to your room, your feet grounded to the earth. Once again, open your eyes. Just notice whatever you're noticing. It's all okay. I'd like to open us up now to more sharing in the chat. How has today benefited you or not? Or anything you'd like to ask or share. And then we'll, after that, we'll share a few gratitude snippets and some home practice ideas.
Yeah, how was that doing the balancing practices after approaching uncomfortable topics like shame and mishaps? You know, I feel like I'm gonna give doing a balanced practice before I think about a mishap as a, or maybe right after as a little trial. I think that would be really helpful. The kind of analogy is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. While we're
Anybody else
waiting
have
for
an
chat,
experience?
yeah. While we're waiting for chats, Julie or Heidi. Oh, Donna said thanks. What did Donna say here? Thanks. Very
Oh, very
timely and
timely and
helpful today
helpful.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Donna.
Wonderful. Julie or Heidi, would you like to share a gratitude snippet or the home practice?
Sure, I'm happy to go through the home practice, Julie. Or do you have a
Do
slide
you
for
want
that?
me to put it? Yeah, I do. Yeah, you can. How about you go through it? So I
Yeah,
don't
that'd be
have to
great.
talk.
We want to take care of your time, and I am gratitude. Thank you for being here. I do want to send a big gratitude thank you to Julie. Um, showing up for us, showing that you care, and we're sending you some love too as you get through this flu
Oh, thank
cycle.
you.
Yeah.
It was really insightful. I'm not at my peak performance and I can tell. And the fact that years ago I would have been shoulding on myself and really having a hard time. But now I realize what did Brooke say? With the circumstances that I had, I tried my best. And I think what we spoke about, all of us, was from the heart, all of us are speaking from the heart with this class. We really we really want you to love yourself. It's really the takeaway message. So here's some homework ideas. Maybe write down,
Yes.
maybe take out your phone, write down a little note of what you might
Mhm.
want. Maybe you just need to relax without guilt. Maybe that's what that's a huge, if you can learn to relax without guilt and recharge your batteries, or if you can learn to approach seeing, suffering on the news like Laurel was talking about, and maybe just wishing for the best, but also having some boundaries, all these things can be a really, we'll send them to you
Yes, yeah.
in
Anthony
an
will
email.
send those into our email, and yeah, great things to weave in. Sometimes it's daring to look at those things, right, in our lives, like, especially when we start moving down. I find, moving into bringing in mindfulness habits. I'm saying it's like, I am ready. I am ready. Paying attention on purpose, more mindfulness habits that are healthier for my mind, body, spirit. And sometimes I'm met with like, are you ready to look? Are you ready?
And if you're not, that's also self-care, right?
Yes, it is. Yes. Are you ready to look? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. All right, here's our poll. If you have a moment before you chime out to do our after poll, that would be wonderful. And next week is class 6. Believe it or not, we'll be in March and greeting our last class of this Mindful Steps 2 series.